So yesterday uh, we started with some uh, equations regarding antenna. So we saw that the transmitter connects through some feeder to antenna and power is radiated. So that is less than the power here, and that is again less than the power here. So for a hypothetical antenna, we assumed this radiated power is same as this Px itself, if there is 100% efficiency. Similarly, power received, again it gets lesser. So this for receive, at the receiver you get a lower power. And we saw reciprocity theorem. Many parameters can be same, characteristic can be same for by using antenna in the transmit mode and receive mode, like impedance, directivity, etc. And we also saw that a diplexer is a device which will permit an antenna to be used simultaneously for transmission as well as reception. Now we need to look at the link power budget calculation. Basically, the power received at the receiver we need to calculate. So we defined a gain G, which is the flux density relative to an isotropic radiator which is generating this flux, whereas the flux density from a directional antenna has some gain. And so if you transmit a radiated isotropic power of G into Ps, it would produce the same flux density, and this G is called the gain, which is a ratio of this to an isotropic antenna, and which will be G. So we assume that radiated power is same as this Ps in our equation, which is a case of a hypothetical antenna having 100% efficiency. Now, dB, dBW, dBm, dBv, dB microvolt, etc. refers to the power ratio. So normally for power ratio you have 10. The ratio of power you are converting to a log scale so that instead of multiplying you can do addition. Here you have for a voltage you have, since B square is power, you have 20 log as the ratio. And this denominator gives the reference. So the denominator can be 1 watt, in which case it is dBW. Can be a milliwatt, in this case it is dBm, milliwatt. And the denominator can be a volt, 1 volt, in which case it is dBv, or it can be a microvolt, in which case it is dB microvolt. So these are all related by some factors. So these are the expressions which these are the units which we normally use. So so dB is normally ratio of two powers, and with 10 here, and for voltage it is 20. And we saw this expression also for a paraboloid antenna, which is commonly used. Uh, the gain is aperture efficiency into pi d by lambda whole square. D is the largest dimension of the antenna, and lambda is the wavelength, which can be converted to frequency. That frequency is c by lambda. So here this pi is a constant, and you can write it in this form. So lambda square becomes f becomes in the numerator, and other expression c and pi, etc. It can be uh, calculated and put in terms of a constant. So this would become the expression for gain in terms of frequency. F is the carrier frequency in gigahertz. In this equation, you put F in gigahertz, D is the reflected diameter in meter, you would get the gain. So this is a problem just showing how calculate the gain. So 3-meter paraboloid antenna refers to this D, largest dimension of this antenna. Operating at a frequency of 12 GHz, you put frequency in 12 GHz and this whole square into this aperture efficiency, you get the gain. And this gain you can convert into dB. So the dB values are put in square bracket, which denotes 10 log of this value G. You get that in dB. So this is the indication of in dB, the square bracket. So our aim is to have a link budget calculation. So which means there is a transmit power and at the end you have a receive power. In between there are some losses. So first type of loss is free space transmission loss, FSL, abbreviated as FSL. So this is the power flux density at the receiving antenna. Radiated power, effective isotropic radiated power by 4 pi r square is the power flux density at the receiving antenna. Now power delivered to a matched receiver. At the receiver, what is the received power? That would be this power flux density into effective aperture. The power delivered to a matched receiver is power density given by this multiplied by effective aperture, which has a standard equation. In the book, this denominator mass missing. So this is the standard equation for A effective aperture, and this is power flux density. You multiply this, you can get this expression: ARP into GR and other things R square, lambda square, so R square and 4 pi here and 4 pi here. So lambda by 4 pi R square. This is the received power. So power received is this into this, which means in dB, take dB, this in dB plus this in dB minus this in dB. So this is the linear equation, PR equal to ARP into GR lambda by 4 pi R square. So here 4 pi R by lambda, that is why it is becoming minus. Okay. 4 pi R by lambda square. This is lambda by 4 pi R square. If you put lambda by 4 pi R square, it is plus. If you put 1 by that, it becomes minus. That's how it becomes minus. And everything can be in dB. Last class I told everything can be in dB, or one among these can be a dBW or dBm or dB microvolt. Then this whole thing becomes this dBW or dBm or dB microvolt, because if you look at this, this is actually you are multiplying two values in a linear scale and dividing by another value in a linear scale. And when you vary this into milliwatt or a microwatt, etc., the whole thing becomes the same as the third unit, milliwatt or a microwatt or whatever it is. So other two can be in watt, and even if you change this, it becomes this milliwatt into microwatt or whatever it is. So you can add 2 dB, and the third one can be a dBm or dBw or a dB microwatt. This answer would be in dBm or dBw or dB microwatt. That is what I was telling last class in the problem. There was one in dB and another unit in dBw, which can be added. The answer is this one. These two are in watt and this is in a milliwatt, and the whole thing becomes milliwatt. So the received power in dBW is sum of transmitted effective isotropic radiated power in dBW plus receiver antenna gain in dB. So the receiver antenna gain in dB minus a third term which represents the free space loss in decibel, and this is referred to as this free space loss in decibel. 10 log 4 pi r by lambda whole square is the free space loss. So here, if you can convert this lambda into frequency, yes, c by lambda, and you will get a constant, and that constant you can calculate it as 32.4 plus 20 log so r square is there, 20 log r plus 20 log r. So basically, you can write received power in dB or dBW equal to EIRP in dBW plus gain of the receiver minus free space loss. That is this free space transmission loss. So in link budget calculation, we will now look at what are the various other losses. This is one of the loss, free space loss. So here you can note that this free space loss received power is increased by increasing antenna gain. So if you increase antenna gain, you can increase the received power. The gain of an antenna means the ability to concentrate the signals. The directivity, etc., represents the gain. So if you increase the gain of the antenna, received power is increased. And gain is inversely proportional to square of wavelength. The gain is inversely proportional to square of wavelength. So wavelength has a bearing on this gain. So gain is inversely proportional to square of wavelength. Also, free space loss is also inversely proportional to square of wavelength. So this free space loss also inversely proportional to square of wavelength. So this you are subtracting free space loss from gain means it becomes independent of frequency. So for constant EIRP, received power is independent of frequency because this is depends inversely to wavelength, and this also depends inversely to wavelength. It is in a linear scale. This is this by this. It will cancel out. It is in dB scale. Now this is a problem where the range between ground station and satellite is 42,000. Calculate free space loss at a frequency. So free space loss you can calculate at a frequency given the distance using this expression, where frequency is in megahertz and distance is in kilometer. So here it is given in kilometer. So since gigahertz you convert it into megahertz, you get the free space loss in dB. The square bracket denotes dB. So what is this value? So the loss is 200.4 dB. This is a very large loss. Now suppose effective isotropic radiated power is 56 dBW. In the last class, the equation for effective isotropic radiated power, you added two values. One was in dBW and another was in dB. The value is this. Now this is the transmit power, and you have to subtract this, and you have to add the gain. So suppose the antenna gain is 50 dB. So here antenna, receiving antenna is gain of 50 dB. You are having a radiated power of 56 dBW. This plus this is 106, and you have to subtract this 204, 200 means it is minus 94 dBW, which can be computed as 355 picowatt. So the value of the received power is of the order of picowatt, because this free space loss is very large because of this distance involved. Distance in kilometers is 42,000. So the received power is of the order picowatt. So the first loss which we can identify is free space transmission loss, which is the dominant one while computing the link budget calculation. Now there are other losses which we have to account. This may not be that high. So receiver feeder losses, RFL. So feeder losses means connection between receive antenna and receive chopper. So there would be some losses here in the feeder, in the waveguide. So that is, you have to account for that in connecting waveguide filters couplers. So it is RFL in linear scale or this square bracket is in dB. Then we always assume both are looking at each other, Earth station and satellite, they are aligned. So this misalignment of antenna can be accounted as a loss. That is antenna misalignment loss. This one is Earth satellite and Earth station antennas aligned for maximum gain here in this A. And in this B, Earth station situated on a given satellite pixel, Earth station antenna is misaligned. This is uh, taken as a loss. Now there are other losses like atmospheric absorption. Atmospheric gases result in losses. So atmospheric absorption loss. Again, in the last class, we discussed about a transponder in which 40 was the uh, channel width of one channel and 12 such channel can be used in 500 megahertz. So to increase the channel, we use horizontal polarization, vertical polarization, clockwise and anti-clockwise polarization. However, there is some ionosphere will introduce a depolarization, and that can be considered as a loss. So you may send a vertical polarized. There are many other factors which will introduce some depolarization, which is accounted by this loss. So all these loss are small losses, and when compared to free space loss. Now we will calculate the link power budget equation. Okay. So we are considering an effective isotropic radiator power. This is in dB. This is considered as input power to a transmission link. At one end of the link, you are putting this much of power in dB. And power at the receiver, PR, PR, will be this transmit power minus losses plus gain of the receiver, where G R is the receiver antenna. So receiver power, received power is transmit power plus gain of receiver minus loss. And losses, we saw FSL, free space loss, plus this receiver feeder loss, plus antenna misalignment loss, atmospheric absorption loss, and polarization mismatch. All these losses you add and put as here. This one loss. So here PR is the received power in dBW, PIRP effective isotropic radiated power, and all these are the different losses which are added together. So this is one change in which you have calculated PR, and we need to go further. So here, a problem in which the frequency is given, feeder loss is free space loss. So this is very high. Feeder loss is small, absorption loss is small, pointing loss is small, and depolarization loss can be never calculated. All this. So total loss is sum of all these loss. So majority of which is our free space loss. Now we need to account some noise effect, system noise. So noise, you might have come across this portion somewhere before. So a receiver power, the received power in satellite is very small, by picowatt. So what can be done there? So you receive only an order of few picowatts. The natural thing is you will amplify this. Here, the noise also you will be amplified the same extent. Again, this amplifier will introduce some noise that will worsen the situation. So, normally the term used in the front end is low noise amplifier. So, you have a low noise amplifier. It is very significant because of the very weak signal uh, which we receive. So, regarding noise, source of noise. Major source of noise is thermal motion of electrons in various devices and receiver. Because of this random thermal motion of electrons, because of just due to the fact that there is temperature, the electrons are agitated and this random movement of electrons result in a noise in various devices, in various components in the antenna, as well as thermal like noise picked by antenna. So noise becomes very important, and this noise power from thermal noise source is given by this expression. So this N subscript denotes the noise. So noise, power of the noise is a Boltzmann constant into temperature of the noise. Is the equivalent noise temperature, Pn, equivalent noise temperature, and bandwidth of the noise. Bn is the equivalent noise bandwidth, and K is the Boltzmann constant. This is the expression for noise power. Thermal noise, basic noise is thermal noise, which is present everywhere. So, if you look at the frequency domain, the representation of thermal noise, you can see that this noise will be from a low frequency to high frequency, the noise will be having a constant value. So that is what is written here. Thermal noise has flat frequency spectrum. Spectrum means x-axis is F. So F is from a low value to very high value. The value of this thermal noise. So that is this thermal noise power. This is flat across this spectrum, and noise power per unit bandwidth is also a concept. So this power is divided by this bandwidth, you get noise per unit bandwidth. You divide this noise by this bandwidth. So per gigahertz or per hertz, what is the noise power? You divide by this Pm. You get this N naught, which is called the power spectral density. PSP, noise power spectral density is N naught. Now, frequently in noise problems, noise from various sources are added to give total noise. So antenna has a noise temperature of 35 Kelvin and is matched to a receiver which is having a noise temperature of 100 Kelvin. So the noise temperature of both sources are added together and you multiply by this K, you get N naught. This is per unit bandwidth, and if you multiply it with the bandwidth, you get noise power. N naught is per unit bandwidth. So we had seen in a C-band receiver a 36 megahertz for a transponder and 4 megahertz guard band. So for a transponder 36 megahertz, what would be the noise? Given that the unit bandwidth, the noise is this much, which can be computed by multiplying K with equivalent noise temperature, and equivalent noise temperature is added by contributions of various sources. So that is regarding Pn and N naught. Amplifier noise temperature. Here there is another concept. Input noise energy coming from antenna. Say there is a temperature, equivalent temperature T antenna. Then K into T antenna will give this noise or spectral density here, and not and antenna. Now the output here you have an amplifier with gain G. Now this N naught out is G times N naught antenna. So gain is there for this noise and it comes here as N naught out. However, there would be some contribution of noise from this amplifier. So contribution by amplifier plus gain times this N0 antenna, which is the noise energy coming from antenna, would be this N0 out. So amplifier noise, whenever it occurs in amplifier, is referred to the input in terms of an equivalent noise temperature for the amplifier, which is P. So here, the noise generated by amplifier is also converted into an equivalent temperature at the input and multiplied by the gain and resulting in a noise. So we normally write N naught out as a G K into T and this is the gain of the noise which is coming from the antenna plus gain into this K into equivalent noise temperature, which is referred to the input. This is a normal way of writing the output noise. You refer the noise produced by the amplifier in terms of an equivalent noise which is at the input. And so this N naught out is written like this, and the total referred noise referred to input will be this divided, the noise here divided by the G, which is now referred to as N naught in. So effectively you have a noise P and plus P equivalent, which represents the noise here of the amplifier and the noise of the antenna, and into K, that is the noise here, and there is a gain here, and you get this noise out. And this is the way we usually uh, describe noise using this method. Again, here I just put this whole slide just to give a, uh, uh, explanation for this TS. So my intention is not to give this expression for a cascaded stage, etc. But rather I want to give this system noise temperature notation, TS, which will be used later. So suppose there are two stages of amplifiers, gain 1 and gain 2. Here there is noise, here it is G times that. This PE is now here. PE is the equivalent. So whatever this is producing the noise, it is referred in terms of input as PE1 and P and antenna. P and PE1. So again you get here, come here. Then again, you add K times T2. The noise energy of amplifier 2 referred to its own input is KTE2. So here there is TE2. You refer to this input. This is actually the noise generated here, and noise input to amplifier from preceding stage. And so if you uh, calculate all this effectively, you will find this N02. N02 is a G1 into K, P1 into K plus P and plus PE1. And now here you are referring this noise to input. This is K PE2. You are referring here. And this whole thing is given a gain G2. And again you get N0 out. So here, the noise energy may be referred to amplifier 1 input by dividing the available power gain of amplifier. Now, if you have N02, you divide by G1, you get the N01. So N01 will be N02 plus G1. In N02, we are adding this P1 into gain, and this P2 is there here in N02. And this is given a gain G2, and here in the NO out expression this will appear, but we are focusing on this one, and we are referring to the input here. So N01 is N02 divided by G1, which will be this one. And this sum of these equivalent temperature is now the system noise temperature, Ts. So Ts will be the P antenna, P equivalent one, so P equivalent 2 gets divided by G1. P equivalent 2 is here at the input of amplifier 2 gets divided by G1 and becomes P equivalent 2. So this is the concept of equivalent system noise temperature, which will be used in an expression. So that's why I just put this figure. It's not to derive the whole thing. There is an equivalent uh, system noise temperature, which is sum of all these. So there could be many stages. So if had there been only one stage, this system noise temperature will be P and plus PE1. Suppose this were not there. This is the case. This is the system noise temperature for one stage. Each stage means plus TEP by G1 and like three stages. So this will be equal system noise temperature. So this is one way of representing noise. There's another way of representing noise. Okay. Alternative way of representing amplifier noise. In defining noise factor of amplifier, so another is apart from this equivalent temperature, you can have a noise factor. So in defining noise factor of amplifier, source is taken to be at room temperature, denoted by T0, usually 290 Kelvin. Input noise from such a source is KT0. Source is, in defining noise factor, source is taken to be at room temperature, and input noise is KT0, and gain G. Gain G, F is the noise factor of amplifier. So you are somehow accounting for the fact that amplifier is producing noise by using this F. In the previous case, you are accounting for the fact that amplifier is producing a noise by using the term PE. So here you are using the term F. So the output noise from the amplifier is this one. Relationship between noise temperature and noise, since both are accounting the noise produced by the amplifier, the output at the amplifier should be same. Whatever be the method you use to denote the amplifier, the output, the noise method you use to denote the noise, whether noise factor or noise equivalent temperature, at the output of the amplifier, using this representation, you have this much of output, and using the previous representation, you have this much of output. Both have to be same. Both have to be same. Whatever be the representation, both have to be same. Hence, you can write equivalent temperature in terms of noise figure. Okay. So noise figure you can write in dB. You take 10 log of here. So both these are equal because whatever be the, you are using two representation to represent the noise produced by the amplifier. So these both has to be equal. Previous output this has to be equal to the other representation. So both are equal. You can relate these two. So in a practical satellite receiving system, we will find that noise temperature is specified for low noise amplifier. Noise temperature. And converter also you use this representation. While noise factor representation is used for main receiver unit. So both are different ways of representing the noise produced by the amplifier. Now, okay, this we will continue next class. Carrier to noise ratio and things will continue tomorrow.